A few years ago, if you told someone that adults would stand in line for hours, fight over mystery boxes, and spend hundreds of dollars on a strange little doll with sharp teeth and pointy ears, they probably wouldn't believe you. After all, toys are supposed to be for kids. Yet today, people across Asia, Europe, and America are obsessing over one character. Some collectors buy dozens of boxes, hoping to find a rare version. Others pay enormous prices on resale markets just to complete their collections. And the strangest part? This doll isn't based on a movie. It isn't from Disney. It isn't from Marvel. It's called Labubu, a mischievous little monster that somehow became one of the biggest collectibles in the world. So how did a strange-looking doll take over not just children, but adults too? And how did its creator go from a relatively unknown artist to building a global phenomenon? This is the story of Labubu. At first glance, Labubu doesn't look like a toy that should become a global phenomenon. It isn't elegant. It isn't traditionally cute. Its sharp teeth, mischievous grin, and strange appearance make it look more like a little monster than a lovable character. And yet, that's exactly what made people remember it. Labubu first appeared as part of a fantasy world created by artist Kazing Lung. At the time, few people could have imagined that this strange character would one day become one of the most sought-after collectibles on the planet. But to understand why Labubu exists at all, we need to go back to the person who created it. Long before people lined up outside stores for Labubu, before collectors spent hundreds of dollars chasing rare editions, and before social media turned the character into a global obsession, Labubu existed only inside the imagination of one artist. His name was Kazing Lung. Growing up, Kazing was fascinated by fantasy stories, folklore, and mythical creatures. While many artists focused on creating heroes and fairy tale characters, he was drawn to something different. He preferred the strange, the imperfect, and the mischievous. Over the years, he developed an entire fantasy universe filled with unusual creatures and personalities. It was a world unlike anything dominating toy stores or entertainment franchises at the time. The problem was that almost nobody seemed interested. For years, Kazing remained largely unknown. His artwork had a small following, but commercial success remained elusive. The toy industry was dominated by established brands, massive marketing budgets, and familiar characters. An independent artist creating odd-looking creatures stood little chance of breaking through. Yet Kazing continued building his world. Then, among the many characters he had created, one began to stand out. It had pointed ears, wide eyes, a mischievous grin filled with sharp teeth. Its name was Labubu. By conventional standards, Labubu shouldn't have worked. It wasn't traditionally cute. It wasn't designed to appeal to everyone. In fact, many people found it strange at first glance. But that difference would eventually become its greatest strength. In a market crowded with predictable characters, Labubu was impossible to ignore. People might not instantly love it, but they remembered it. For years, however, Labubu remained little more than a character in Kazing's growing fantasy universe. Then came the turning point. Kazing's work caught the attention of Pop Mart, a rapidly growing collectibles company that was redefining how toys were sold and marketed. Where others saw an unusual character, Pop Mart saw potential. More importantly, they understood something that many companies overlooked. They weren't just selling toys. They were selling emotion, anticipation, and the thrill of discovery. Together, Pop Mart and Kazing transformed Labubu from a sketch on paper into a physical collectible. What happened next would surprise the entire industry. Because Labubu wasn't about to become another toy. It was about to become a global phenomenon. At this point, you might be wondering something. How does a strange little doll with sharp teeth become one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world? The answer is surprisingly simple. Because Pop Mart wasn't really selling Labubu. They were selling a feeling. Think about it. If every Labubu figure was sitting on a shelf for everyone to see, most people would simply pick the one they wanted and walk away. The excitement would be gone. The mystery would disappear. So Pop Mart did something brilliant. Instead of selling Labubu normally, they hid each figure inside a blind box. From the outside, every box looked identical. Customers knew they were buying a Labubu, but they had no idea which one they were going to get. And suddenly, buying a toy felt more like opening a treasure chest. Every box carried a possibility. Maybe it contained the figure you wanted. Maybe it contained a rare edition worth far more than its retail price. Or maybe it didn't. That uncertainty changed everything. People didn't just buy Labubu. They started chasing Labubu. One box became two. Two became five. Five became 10. Not because collectors needed more toys, but because they were chasing the excitement of what if? What if the next box contains the rare one? What if the next box is the one everyone is looking for? And that's where psychology took over. The human brain loves rewards, but it loves uncertain rewards even more. It's the same reason people buy lottery tickets, open trading card packs, or keep pulling the lever on a slot machine. The possibility of winning can be more exciting than winning itself. Then Pop Mart added another powerful ingredient: scarcity. Some Labubu figures were produced in extremely limited quantities. Others disappeared from stores almost immediately. Collectors began rushing to new releases before they sold out. Resale prices exploded. And suddenly, Labubu was no longer just a toy. It had become a status symbol, a hunt, an obsession. The more difficult it became to get, the more people wanted it. And before long, that obsession spread far beyond toy collectors. It was becoming a global phenomenon. At first, the success of Labubu looked like another strong wave in the collectibles industry. But very quickly, something different started happening. This wasn't just about toy collectors anymore. It was becoming culture. On social media, Labubu began appearing everywhere. Unboxing videos went viral within hours. People filmed themselves opening blind boxes with the same intensity you'd expect from a lottery draw. Entire communities formed around trading duplicates, hunting rare editions, and predicting upcoming releases. And then came the second wave: fashion. Labubu stopped being something you kept on a shelf. It started showing up as a keychain on luxury handbags, as a desk companion in offices, and as a small accessory in lifestyle photos. Influencers and celebrities began featuring it subtly in posts, not as a toy, but as a personal symbol. That's when the meaning shifted again. Because once a collectible crosses into lifestyle identity, demand no longer behaves normally. It multiplies. Pop Mart leaned into this shift with precision. New series dropped in controlled batches. Seasonal editions created urgency. Collaborations introduced fresh designs that made older versions feel instantly more collectible. And every drop followed the same pattern: announce, wait, sell out, repeat. But the real transformation was happening elsewhere. In the resale market, secondary marketplaces became the real battlefield. Figures originally sold for modest retail prices were now being resold for several times more. Rare editions turned into auction-level assets. Entire online groups formed just to track pricing trends like stock charts. For some buyers, Labubu stopped being a toy purchase altogether. It became speculation, and that changed behavior. People weren't just collecting for joy anymore. They were collecting for opportunity. The line between hobby and investment started to blur, especially when certain figures began outperforming expectations in resale value. At the same time, something more emotional was happening underneath all of this. Scarcity wasn't just driving demand, it was building attachment. The harder it became to complete a set, the more personal each figure felt. Missing one piece wasn't a small gap anymore. It felt like an unfinished story. That psychological tension is what kept people locked in, not logic, emotion. And as demand expanded globally, supply pressure only made the cycle stronger. Limited releases sold out faster. New regions joined the trend. And each wave brought in buyers who had never even considered collecting toys before. But every phenomenon eventually reaches a turning point. And for Labubu, that turning point wasn't decline, it was saturation. When something becomes everywhere, it stops feeling rare. And when it stops feeling rare, the psychology that created the obsession begins to weaken. Pop Mart responded the only way the system allows: more designs, more variations, more drops. But this introduced a new problem: oversaturation risk. Collectors who once chased every release began becoming selective. Newcomers still entered the market, but long-term fans started feeling fatigue from constant releases and escalating prices in the resale ecosystem. At the same time, counterfeit versions started circulating, targeting demand that official supply couldn't satisfy. This forced the brand into tighter control measures, authentication systems, and stricter distribution channels. Yet despite all of this, something important remained unchanged. Labubu had already escaped its original category. It was no longer just a toy line. It had become a symbol of modern collectible culture, where design, scarcity, psychology, and social media all intersect. And even as trends shift, that legacy doesn't disappear easily. Because Labubu didn't just ride a wave of hype. It helped define how that wave works.